Hey, what's good? It's Brandon C. Kennard coming with another episode of My Eye on Sports. It's been about 2 weeks since I last did a video, but in the last 2 weeks there's been a lot of things going on, so let's just get right into it. What's been going on in sports? Well, the Bulls, they fired Tom Thibodeau last week. It wasn't much of a surprise. It was said that he was going to be fired because of his tension with the front office. There was a lot of talk that the Bulls wanted to try to get compensation before firing him. However, that didn't happen, so they decided to cut bait with him and move on. It's kind of unfortunate when you think about it. Tom Thibodeau was a very successful coach for the Bulls. You think about it, he won 65% of his games. Most of those games without their top star in Derrick Rose. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get over that hump and have that same success in the playoffs. Much of the reason is because of LeBron James and his reign on the Eastern Conference. But all in all, the Bulls again they decided to move on, and it's kind of eerily similar to when they decided to let Phil Jackson go back in 1999 and bring in Tim Floyd, who was a coach from Iowa State. Again, they're doing the same thing. They're letting Tom Thibodeau go, and they're bringing another Iowa State coach in Fred Hoiberg. Could this be the end of the Bulls championship window? Obviously, they're going to have to make some roster decisions with some of their players, Jimmy Butler being one of them. He's a restricted free agent, and he's definitely going to cost the Bulls a lot of money if they decide to retain him. So it's definitely going to be an interesting offseason for the Chicago Bulls among many other teams. Also going to be an interesting offseason for Tom Thibodeau. He's definitely going to have options in terms of where he wants to coach next. There definitely are going to be teams looking at him. However, one team that will not be looking at him apparently will be the New Orleans Pelicans, as they decided to bring in Alvin Gentry as their new head coach. I must say I am somewhat of a fan of the hire. I do think Alvin Gentry is someone who can invigorate the Pelicans, and hopefully he'll do just that, because that's something that's going to be needed to do in order to appease Anthony Davis and keep him in the Crescent City, which I know the Pelicans want to do. Dell Demps is definitely going to be a crucial hire for him. It was said that, Monty Williams did not survive as coach of the Pelicans because Dell Demps wanted to bring in his guy. And unfortunately, there were rumors that Monty Williams and Dell Demps did not always see eye to eye. And that may have resulted in Monty's exit. Hopefully, with Alvin Gentry coming in, this will be a great hire for the team, and the Pelicans can continue their ascent to try to become a championship contender. It's definitely going to be an interesting offseason for the Pelicans. They're definitely going to have to make some decisions in terms of their roster, who they want to keep. Can they bring in any exciting free agents to the New Orleans area to try to help out Anthony Davis and allow Alvin Gentry to really put his stamp on this team and bring in an exciting brand of basketball, which I think this city definitely deserves. And I think Anthony Davis is capable of playing more of an up and down style, a lot of what Golden State does. It'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of months there. But Alvin Gentry is definitely going to be, everything he's going to do is going to be watched very closely, and it's going to be crucial as to whether or not he's successful here. And the biggest thing is going to be, will Anthony Davis stay when it's his time to make a decision, or whether or not he wants to sign long term with the Pelicans. That's going to be the biggest thing that's going to happen in Pelicans basketball in the future. Well, the NBA Finals, that matchup is now set. It's going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Golden State Warriors coming up this Thursday, and their journeys to the finals, especially through the conference finals, wasn't too surprising. Neither series in the conference finals really gave much suspense. As far as Cleveland goes, they were able to sweep the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta, as much as they fought, they just were overmatched. And Cleveland, they had their own set of problems with Kyrie Irving going down, of course Kevin Love out for the playoffs. But even with just LeBron James and his supporting cast, they were able to just outrun the Hawks. Atlanta's best chance to stay in the series was in Game 3, but they still fell short. LeBron James really played his heart out. I must say LeBron James is definitely more mature. He's definitely evolved into more of a leader for this Cavaliers team. And, it can be argued that he is playing his best brand of basketball for the Cavs as they steamroll into the finals this weekend. It's going to be interesting to see, as far as Cleveland goes, they've been playing great basketball. They've been getting great contributions from J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert, Tristan Thompson, also off the bench with Matthew Dellavedova. However, it's going to be interesting to see now they're matching up with the Golden State Warriors, who have the best record in the NBA. They've really dominated the Western Conference. It's going to be interesting to see. Is Cleveland going to be able to match up with them? Are they going to be able to make this a series? Are they going to be able to prove that they weren't just the best of a weak Eastern Conference? Are they really going to be able to take it to the Warriors and make this a series and have a legitimate chance of winning the NBA championship? Obviously, the Cavaliers are going to be the underdog, and it's going to take a great effort from LeBron James to win this series, and he's going to need help. And is he going to get that help from Kyrie Irving? Kyrie Irving's probably not going to be 100% in this series, but anything that he can give on both ends of the floor is definitely going to be crucial, and it's definitely going to be something that is going to bear watching, because LeBron James, for all he can do, I don't think he can win this series on his own. You look at it from Golden State's side. Golden State really didn't have much of a problem with the Houston Rockets. They were able to beat them in 5 games. And again, Golden State has just been very impressive in these playoffs. For all the talk of what they do on the offensive end of the court, it's really what they've been doing on the defensive end of the court that has really been impressive. And they've really suffocated teams and made them play out of their style. And it's really helped Golden State be able to just open up the game and really, really frustrate you to the point to where you play out of character. And before you know it, you're turning the ball over. They're going the other way. They're getting big shots, hitting 3-pointers. Steph Curry has been amazing for most of these playoffs. Again, he is the MVP. And matching up with the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think this Golden State Warrior team is just gonna be a little bit too much for the Cleveland Cavaliers, in my opinion. I'm gonna pick the Golden State Warriors to win this series actually in 5 games. I think that I was going to say 6 games, but I just think that Golden State is going to present too many problems for the Cleveland Cavaliers to match up. When you think about it, when you're not going to stop LeBron James. I think the Warriors are smart enough to know that. But when you think about it, Golden State can put Draymond Green on LeBron James. They can put Klay Thompson on LeBron James. They can put Andre Iguodala on LeBron James. And they also have Harrison Barnes. So they have a lot of guys they can throw at LeBron James just to make him use up energy. And I just feel that, even on just that strategy, if Kyrie Irving is not Kyrie Irving, it's really going to hurt the Cleveland Cavaliers. And, just to summarize it all, I just feel like again, I have Golden State winning this series in 5 games. But overall, I just feel like this. If you look at it from a simplistic point of view, I just feel that Golden State can win this series if Steph Curry doesn't play his best. I don't think the Cleveland Cavaliers can win this series at all if LeBron James doesn't play his best. That's just the way I feel. So I got Golden State winning in 5. I would like to see an exciting series, but again, I just think that Cleveland just doesn't present enough out there to be able to overtake Golden State. But it should be a fun series to watch. Can't wait for it to get started on this coming Thursday. All right, little Major League Baseball talk. Alex Rodriguez again made news recently by tying Barry Bonds for second most RBI. I have to say, Alex Rodriguez coming off the tumultuous PEDs and suspensions and all kind of other problems that he had on a personal note. I must say he's rebounding as best he can. He may not be his accomplishments may not be as well received as the sport would like, and also his team may like. It's just unfortunate that 2 of the biggest stars in baseball, and I'm talking about Alex Rodriguez and Barry Bonds, they make news. They've had such great accomplishments, but neither one may not even make the Hall of Fame. And I think that's one of the reasons why baseball just, for me personally, is just not a sport that really is something that really gets a lot of following. It seems like it's been a second-tier sport lately. It's just the way I feel. Baseball, you play 162 games. And just to put it in perspective, about maybe a week ago, the division leaders in so far in the season, so far that's been played, you've had the Yankees, the Dodgers, Cardinals, Nationals, Astros, and Royals leading their division, and they have about 110 games left in the season. We'll just see if any or all these teams are still leading their divisions once the season does come to a close later this year. We'll just have to wait and see. But the baseball season is so long and so drawn out. It just makes you wonder sometimes. But again, congratulations to Alex Rodriguez for making that history. Hopefully, he and the other guys that have had played in this sport and had their blood, sweat, and tears, hopefully they will make the Hall of Fame. Baseball is a sport that's been around for a long time, and it deserves to be elevated, but they're going to have to find a way to market this sport again if it's ever going to be able to compete with the NFL and the NBA. Some people who are diehard baseball fans may disagree with what I just said, but I think the numbers bear proof of what I'm saying. And again, hopefully baseball will find a way to rebound and get back to the popularity that it had in the mid-'90s when they were in the home run era. Unfortunately, it was tainted because of the steroids. So hopefully baseball will find a way to come back in the forefront and become once again America's pastime. All right, transitioning to the NFL. Well, a lot of different things going on in the NFL. If you're looking at it from a negative side, even though we are in the technically still in the off season in the NFL, a lot of things going on. Ray McDonald, he was arrested for suspicion of domestic violence. This was his second arrest with his second different team. He was originally with the 49ers last season. He got arrested again for a suspicion of domestic violence. The 49ers released him. The Chicago Bears gave him another chance. Maybe, they weren't so, eager to do so, but at the urging of of his former defensive coordinator, they did give him another chance. And unfortunately, it bit him where it didn't want to bite him, because he did get arrested again for domestic violence. So the Bears did promptly release him. Kudos to them for that. But then what was really crazy was that a day later, he was arrested again for violating a restraining order. So, what I'm about to say may be a little cheesy, but here goes. Old Ray McDonald lost his career because I don't see him getting another chance in the NFL. It's really its own fault. I don't understand with some players in the NFL where I don't know if it's a lack of aggression during the off season, or they feel like they just have to do crazy things like this, because he was an elite defensive player at one point in his career, but now he's definitely going to be looking for a job, and it won't be in the NFL, because I just don't see him getting another chance among the 30 plus NFL teams out there. So sometimes, like they say, you make your bed, you have to lie in it, and I think in his case, he definitely may have lost his career. I don't see him getting another chance in the NFL. It's just unfortunate. All right, a little bit of a positive spin now. Cam Newton, he just recently signed a 5-year, $103 million contract with the Carolina Panthers. Definitely no surprise there. Carolina was always said that they were going to take care of Cam. I'm certainly not a fan of Cam, as far as his antics out there on the field and everything, but I do applaud the brother for definitely getting his payday. He did deserve it. Being a Saints fan and everything, I'm definitely not a fan of Cam or the Panthers, but again, I do give kudos for anyone who does get what they deserve, and I felt like he did deserve his new contract. What's going to be interesting to see, though, is now that they've shelled out all this money for Cam, what's gonna be with the team around him? There were definitely some whispers about how the Panthers didn't address their offensive line. Cam has definitely taken some hits over the last few years, and even though he would like to think he's Superman and the team may think he's Superman, I don't think there's any quarterback in the NFL that wants to continue to take these hits that he's been taking over the past few years. So, as much as he may enjoy getting his money today, I don't know if he's going to continue getting hit if his offensive line isn't up to par. Also, what's going to be of his weapons? They said that a lot of people don't really think that they addressed the Panthers' need of getting a wide receiver that can stretch the field with speed. Obviously, they did hit a home run with Kelvin Benjamin last year. They did draft a few guys in the draft, but a lot of people just didn't think that they drafted anyone that's going to really help Cam in terms of stretching the field and making big plays with the offense. Obviously, Carolina's still thought to be a defensive team anyway. They're definitely anticipated to be a very strong defense again this year. But again, when you pay a quarterback over $100 million, you're going to expect them to make big plays. But if he doesn't have the guys to make the big plays with, can you really blame it all on Cam? Again, that's the great thing about sports. The story's only half written now. Only the future's going to bear out and see how everything plays out as far as when the new season kicks off in September. All right, from my hometown Saints, Cameron Jordan. He recently signed a new big contract, 5 years, worth $60 million, and over $33 million guaranteed. Big contract for Cameron Jordan. I'm glad the Saints decided to give him his big payday. So they really have decided to make Cameron Jordan the cornerstone of their defense. He's going to be locked in through 2020. So Cameron Jordan is definitely going to be expected to do big things. And when I say big things, it doesn't necessarily have to be sacks, but he's just definitely going to have to be a big cornerstone of that defense, and he's definitely going to have to become more of a leader for the Saints defensive team and the team as a whole. I think with the moves they've made over the offseason, I think that the Saints want to transition more into a defensive team. When you were that bad on defense last year, you definitely want to get better. And I think re-signing Cameron Jordan is a step in the right direction. So kudos for the Saints and kudos for Cameron Jordan on that one. All right, Adrian Peterson. With this topic, I tell you, I'm kind of cross-struck with this one because I've been a fan of Adrian Peterson ever since he came into the NFL. The only time I really haven't rooted for Adrian Peterson, obviously, is when he played my Saints. And his biggest chance to win a Super Bowl was back in 2009 when they matched up in the NFC Championship against the Saints. So that was really the only time where I was on the other side in terms of rooting against him. But I must say, the latest developments with him have definitely rubbed me the wrong way. I just don't understand where he's coming from in a lot of ways. You have a situation where you have a guy that gets into a child abuse situation with his son. As a result, he only played one game for the Vikings last year. However, the Vikings still paid his entire salary. And yet, he still harbored bad feelings against the team, and I didn't really understand that. He said that he felt like certain guys in the organization didn't have his back. And my take on it is, Adrian, that may be. I don't really know exactly what they did to anger you, but the way I see it, again, you got paid, man. You got paid every dollar that you were owed last year, even though you only played one game. I could understand if maybe they were trying to fight to not pay you, but you cost this team a lot of grief last year with your child abuse situation, and you never really manned up and said that you even made a mistake. You put this team in an awkward position to where they had to do things to retain sponsorships. It was embarrassing for the league. It was embarrassing for the team. It was even embarrassing for yourself, whether you want to admit it or not. But again, you got paid only for playing one game. So I'm really having a hard time understanding why you had such ill feelings against the Vikings, regardless of whether or not they didn't have your back. They still paid you, and they still stuck by you, at least in that aspect. That's the most important thing, especially when you didn't suit up for these guys. And then there was the rumors that he wanted to be traded. Well, that's fine if you want to be traded, but the thing about it is the Vikings have your rights. You're under contract. They decided that they did not want to trade you. They were adamant about it, and you, again, steamed about it, and I really don't understand why. But when I think about it, could it be maybe that he just, you just figured that, Adrian Peterson just will never win a Super Bowl with the Vikings maybe? You consider the fact that Brett Favre was their best quarterback some years back. Of course, he had to retire. They bring in Christian Ponder and sold Adrian Peterson on the fact that that Christian Ponder was going to be the next big quarterback for the Vikings. However, that didn't really pan out. And I think maybe he got frustrated and maybe he had his designs on getting out of Minnesota altogether. You know, all of a sudden wanting to play for the Dallas Cowboys or the Arizona Cardinals, two teams who thought to have Super Bowl aspirations, tells me that maybe he had designs on getting out of Minnesota altogether. But however, Minnesota stood their ground and they decided that they were not going to trade Adrian Peterson. And whether or not you agree or not, it's their decision. He's under contract. He's due to make over $12 million this coming season. But I found out that it's not guaranteed. So then he goes on Twitter and goes on a rant about how non-guaranteed contracts aren't fair and, you know, this and that. So now you think it's about the money. So I just don't understand Adrian Peterson's position on certain things. I'm not saying he's wrong about what he was saying on Twitter, but at the same time, I just feel like it wasn't his place to say that. After everything that's going on, you just have to question his timing and his motives, especially after the Vikings paid him. I keep saying that, but they paid him for only playing one game. They still paid his whole salary for 2014 after everything. So it was just very puzzling as to everything that he's done over the past couple of days. But then the shocker, he shows up today for OTAs and I guess trying to make amends for some of the decisions that he's made. I really hope that Adrian Peterson and the Vikings can get it together, because I do think with him and Teddy Bridgewater, I definitely think that could be a combination that could do good things for Minnesota. And I definitely think they can still be a playoff contender if, and I do emphasize if, Adrian Peterson is all in. Maybe by him showing up to OTAs, maybe the Vikings have pulled him aside and agreed to maybe guarantee some of his contract. Obviously, they don't have to do it, but you know, Adrian Peterson is their star player. He's the face of their franchise, and hopefully, maybe by doing it, it can repair their relationship and maybe put aside all the negativity of the child abuse case that he had to go through last season. I certainly wish him and the Vikings the best on that accord. Well, that's it for this episode of My Own Sports. Obviously, the NBA Finals will be getting started this Tuesday, and I'll be very interested to see if my prediction comes true. Again, I have Golden State in 5. That's what I'm going to stick with. But the series, when it gets started, I'll definitely be paying attention to that and definitely be giving my analysis on how that series works out through the weekend. That's it for now. I want to thank everybody for viewing. If you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe, because there'll be more videos along the way. Again, thanks for viewing. See you next time.